Today, we will together explore one of the unsung heroes, the M5A1 Stuart tank. What made this tank special, from its design to its exploits across various battlefronts? Join me as we delve into this fascinating story right now. In the 1930s, the United States Army did not consider tanks to be crucial battlefield weapons, resulting in limited research and development. However, following Germany's victories in Europe, which heavily utilized the firepower and mobility of tanks, the U.S. military leadership reactivated plans for light tank development. Several tank models were developed, including the M1, M2, and M3 series. By 1942, production of the M5 series began at the Cadillac division of General Motors. There was no light tank designated M4 to avoid confusion with the medium tank M4 then in production. In September 1942, design improvements were finalized, leading to the M5A1, the pinnacle of U.S. light tank technology during this period. A total of 6,810 M5A1 vehicles were produced from 1942 to 1944. The M5A1's design was based on three fundamental elements of tank warfare: armor, firepower, and mobility. Being a light tank, its armor protection was very thin, only about 29 mm at the front, sufficient for the Far East theater but ineffective against German firepower. With a height of approximately 2.57 meters, the vehicle became an easily spotted target. Its main firepower was a 37 mm gun, much weaker than other tanks in Europe but still powerful enough to engage Japanese vehicles. However, its mobility was very impressive, with a maximum speed of 58 km per hour, potentially exceeding 72 km per hour. The smooth-running V8 engine and hydromatic automatic transmission provided smooth control and stealthy operation. The M5A1 was equipped with a 7.62 mm machine gun in the hull, a coaxial 7.62 mm machine gun, a 37 mm main gun, and a 12.7 mm anti-aircraft machine gun. Initially, the vehicle only had a 7.62 mm anti-aircraft gun on the turret, but most crews later replaced it with the more effective 12.7 mm version. The ground pressure was 12.3 pounds per square inch. It used a vertical volute spring suspension system. The control differential was located to the right of the driver, connected to a 2-speed automatic transmission and 2 drive shafts from 2 4-speed automatic transmissions, allowing for 8 forward and 2 reverse gears. The vehicle was powered by 2 rear-mounted 346 cubic inch V8 engines, each producing 110 horsepower. Dual Carter carburetors supplied fuel, along with an automatic heating system for easy cold weather starting. The vehicle commander, who also acted as the loader, sat on the right side, while the gunner sat on the left. A gyroscope mounted on the right side of the turret aided in aiming while moving over rough terrain. Each vehicle had a crew of 4, a driver, a co-driver/hull gunner, a gunner, and a commander. The tank had 5 M6 periscopes, 4 facing forward and 1 facing rearward. The M5 first saw combat in Casablanca in North Africa. By 1943, the M5A1 became the standard light tank in U.S. armored divisions. Due to its limited firepower, the M5A1 primarily performed reconnaissance and escort duties in Italy and Europe after the Normandy landings. In the Pacific theater, it appeared at ROI Namur and Saipan in 1944. While the 37 mm gun was weak in Europe, it was very effective against Japanese tanks, especially the Type 97 Chiha. As a result, many other vehicles with the same gun, such as the M8 or M3, continued to be used there. The driver's compartment of the M5A1 was located on the left side of the vehicle. Thanks to the use of 2 Cadillac engines paired with an automatic transmission, the tank operated very smoothly, so much so that British soldiers often called it honey. The automatic transmission made driver training easier, which was also convenient for demonstration purposes, as many people at the time were unfamiliar with manual transmissions. To the right of the driver's seat was the control differential, a type of 2-speed automatic transmission that allowed the driver to use 8 forward gears. The steering lever was stowed overhead and pulled down to drive. Pulling the lever to the right turned the tank right, pulling it to the left turned it left, and pulling both levers stopped the vehicle. When turning, the track drag increased, so it was necessary to increase the throttle to prevent the tank from stalling mid-turn, a common characteristic of tracked vehicles of that era. The turret housed the fighting compartment with the breech of the 37 mm gun. The real gun was removed and replaced with a propane and oxygen-powered simulation gun. An oil reservoir containing diesel fuel was periodically pumped into the gun to create realistic smoke. The commander and gunner sat on a turret basket, which also featured a gyroscopic stabilization system, an advanced technology for the time. During combat reenactments, they opened the turret hatches for observation and safety. One of the two rear-mounted 346 cubic inch V8 engines powered the tank. This engine used a hydromatic automatic transmission from General Motors, which was readily available in luxury civilian models like the Cadillac LaSalle. Due to delays in developing a dedicated tank engine, the military had to use available civilian engines. The Cadillac engines were relatively reliable but somewhat underpowered. If one engine failed, the tank was almost immobile unless the drive shaft was disconnected, a time-consuming process. Nevertheless, this type of engine ran much more smoothly compared to the noisy aircraft engines previously used. The M5A1 Stuart, located at Dead Man's Corner in Normandy, France, is not actually a real tank but an extremely detailed replica. Although displayed as a World War II-era tank, it has no armor and isn't even a functional vehicle. It is merely a static model constructed so realistically that many passers-by and even tank enthusiasts have difficulty discerning the truth. Situated near a major road, this model has become a popular attraction and frequently appears in online tank enthusiast communities due to its impressive authenticity. This tank was manufactured by the Cadillac Car Company in 1942. Cadillac was chosen because its engines and transmissions were readily available to replace the Continental radial aircraft engines, which were scarce for earlier light tank models. The M5A1 was the most advanced version of the Stuart light tank series used by the United States, Britain, Poland, France, Russia, and China during World War II. Images of the Stuart numbered 1243 show the arrangement of equipment on the front armor, typical for the Normandy area in 1944. A Cullen hedgerow cutter, invented by Sergeant Cullen, was mounted on the front of the vehicle, made from steel obstacles placed by the Germans along the French coast. A spare track link was often attached to the front armor for convenient storage and to provide additional protection against shaped charge anti-tank weapons. A guide wheel was mounted in the center of the front armor plate. The anti-aircraft machine gun was initially a 7.62 mm type, but it was often replaced with the more powerful 12.7 mm Browning. The vehicle was equipped with a vertical volute spring suspension system and lightweight rubber tracks. Although it was fast and smooth on dirt roads, this type of track was prone to slipping on ice and snow. Track grousers, devices for increasing traction, were stored on the turret and fitted onto the tracks when moving in snowy conditions. This vehicle is a replica simulating an M5A1 Stuart light tank of the 70th Tank Battalion, a unit that landed on Utah Beach on D-Day. It is a full-scale model, crafted with such high detail that even tank enthusiasts might struggle to distinguish it from a real tank. The chassis is made of thin steel, while simulated cast components like the gun mantlet or machine gun mounts are made of foam or similar materials. The running gear is realistically recreated, especially the shock absorber units, although the absence of volute springs might allow a keen observer to spot the difference from afar. The tracks simulate the rubber-padded T16 type but are actually cast in concrete and painted black, with smaller details like track links and guide horns made from thinner materials, appearing less robust than those of a real tank. This Stuart is a static display model only, incapable of movement, and its tracks are non-functional. This replica was created by artist Patrick Letouze at his workshop in Pont Farcy for the D-Day Experience Museum in Saint-Côme-du-Mont. The entire project took nearly a year, with the construction itself taking about 5 months. Letouze relied on numerous images and archival documents to create the model, completing and delivering it to the museum in 2016. Prior to this, he had worked on models of wartime scooters. The choice of the M5A1 Stuart tank model placed outside the museum was not random, but rather carries historical significance deeply linked to the location of Dead Man's Corner. This is a strategic intersection between two important roads, the D974 connecting Cherbourg to Paris via Carentan, and the D913 from Utah Beach. The building at this crossroads was once used as a command post by German paratroopers. After the D-Day landings, American paratroopers, in coordination with tanks from Utah Beach, advanced along the D913 towards Carentan. The leading tank, an M5A1 Stuart, was struck and destroyed by German anti-tank fire right as it reached this corner. In the chaos of D-Day, there was no time to remove the crew's bodies, so they were left inside the vehicle, with the commander still seated in the turret. This event has become a vivid legend that persists to this day. In the days following the landings, the tank and the remains of its crew became a familiar landmark for Allied soldiers, leading the crossroads to be known as the corner with the tank and the dead man inside. This name gradually evolved into the Dead Man's Corner of today. There are photographs of American paratroopers standing beside the actual M5A1 Stuart that was destroyed at this very spot, and the current replica is placed very close to that location, separated only by a fence. There is much debate about the identity of the soldier who died inside the tank, with some believing it was the driver, while others insist it was the commander. There are also accounts that the body was lying outside the vehicle, but the reality is that the deceased was likely the commander, and he remained inside the tank. The current Stuart model recreates that very tank, complete with the unit markings painted on its front armor. The M5A1 Stuart tank replica is located at the D-Day Experience Museum in Dead Man's Corner, situated between Carrington to the south and Saint-Côme-du-Mont to the north. So, we have together explored the fascinating journey of the M5A1 Stuart, from its early days of formation as the U.S. military recognized the importance of tanks, to its undeniable contributions across the battlefields of World War II. Although not a destroyer on the European front, the M5A1 still proved its worth in reconnaissance, escort duties, and was particularly effective against adversaries in the Pacific.